everyone, and welcome back. We're diving deep today
yeah.
into how to set goals that actually work,
Nice.
whether that's for a big project at work
Yeah.
or even like finally cleaning out that closet.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. We're unpacking some super practical tips
Absolutely.
from chapter 3 of this improvement guide.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's way more interesting than it sounds.
I know, right? What really struck me about this chapter
Yeah, okay.
was how it doesn't just like throw acronyms at you.
Yeah.
It actually starts by acknowledging you already have that drive,
Mm-hmm.
that I want to make things better energy.
Yeah.
And then it builds from there.
That's so important, right? Feeling like you're starting from a place of strength
Totally.
instead of, okay, go fix everything.
Yeah.
Speaking of frameworks, though,
Okay.
the chapter dives into the IHI model,
Yes.
which they describe as a cycle for improvement.
Yeah, they actually picture it as a wheel,
Oh, cool.
which I love because it shows how these steps just keep rolling into each other.
Mhm.
So first you've got, what are we trying to accomplish?
Right.
Which is where we figure out our aim, our big goal.
Right.
Then it's like, how will we know if a change is actually an improvement?
Okay.
And that's all about setting up our measures to track our progress.
Got it.
And then the real action starts. Act,
Yeah.
plan,
Huh?
study,
Mm-hmm.
do.
So it's not just a one and done thing?
No, not at all. It's like a continuous loop,
Okay.
always learning and refining as you go.
Interesting.
All about making small changes,
Yeah.
testing them out,
Mm-hmm.
seeing what works, and then building on that.
That makes so much sense.
I know, right?
Okay, now let's talk about those aims.
Okay.
Those big goals.
Sure.
The chapter quotes Dr. Berwick, who
Hmm.
says aims should have heart.
I love that.
Right. They should be ambitious,
Yeah,
inspiring,
definitely.
but also trackable.
Right.
Which brings us to the dreaded SMART goals.
Oh, yeah, that's specific,
Yeah.
measurable,
Mm-hmm.
attainable, realistic,
Mm-hmm.
time-bound.
Yes.
I know it can feel so overwhelming,
Right.
especially if you're new to this whole improvement thing.
Totally. And that's where this chapter really shines.
I agree.
They offer a much simpler approach.
Tell me more.
The by whom,
Oh, yeah.
how much, by when framework.
So much easier.
Right. It's like SMART goals without the headache.
Exactly. And they illustrate it beautifully
Oh, good.
with a weight loss example.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
they use the framework to create a specific and measurable aim.
Nice.
Like, I want to reduce my weight by 5% by the end of the third quarter.
Oh, I like that.
Right.
Because you can really picture yourself in that third quarter hitting that goal.
Absolutely.
What I love, though, is that this framework isn't limited to personal goals.
Oh, definitely not.
The chapter provides 5 practice scenarios
Okay.
that apply it to all sorts of situations,
Wow.
like reducing missed appointments in a clinic, or getting more people to sign up for a research study,
Oh, wow.
even improving communication between healthcare providers.
It's amazing.
And that variety is key
I agree.
because it shows just how versatile this framework is.
Totally.
Whether you're trying to improve your personal life,
Mm-hmm.
your work processes,
Yeah.
or even a community project.
It can apply to so many things.
This framework can help you get there.
For sure.
Okay, so we've got our aim nailed down.
All right.
We're feeling motivated.
Yes.
But how do we know if we're actually making progress?
Good question.
That's where measures come in.
Yes. Measures.
yeah.
And measures are more than just numbers on a spreadsheet.
Okay,
They're the tools we use to tell the story of our improvement journey.
interesting.
They tell us if we're moving in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even more importantly, if we're accidentally veering off course.
Oh, that's a good point.
Right.
So it's kind of like having a GPS for our goals.
Oh, I like that.
We set the destination with our aim. And then the measures are like those little checkpoints along the way that
Yeah.
tell us we're on the right track.
I love that analogy. And just like a GPS
Yeah.
can alert you if you veered off course,
Mm-hmm.
our measures can signal if our improvement efforts
Okay.
are having unintended consequences.
Speaking of those little detours,
Uh,
the chapter talks about 3 types of measures:
okay.
outcome process
Yes.
and balancing measures.
Important ones.
Outcome measures seem pretty straightforward.
I think so.
They tell us if we're ultimately achieving our aim right.
Exactly.
Like if your aim is to reduce your weight by 5%,
Mm-hmm.
your outcome measure would be tracking your weight over time.
Right.
See if you're hitting that target.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
Good.
But what about those process measures?
Okay.
They sound a little more
Yeah,
behind the scenes.
they are. Process measures focus on the actions we're taking to reach our aim.
Okay.
Think of them like the ingredients in a recipe. If your aim is to bake a cake,
Okay.
your process measures would be things like,
Yeah.
did I accurately measure the flour?
Uh-huh.
Or did I preheat the oven to the right temperature?
Gotcha.
They tell us if we're doing the right things
Okay.
to get to our desired outcome.
So if we go back to that weight loss example,
Yeah.
process measures could be things like
Hmm.
tracking how many steps you're taking each day,
Right.
or how often you're choosing a salad over a burger.
Precisely. It's
Yeah.
about monitoring those specific actions that contribute to the bigger goal.
And then we have those balancing measures,
Yes.
which sound like the unsung heroes,
Like,
making sure we're not messing things up along the way.
they are essential. Remember, even with the best intentions,
Yeah,
sometimes our improvement efforts can have unintended negative consequences.
true.
Balancing measures are like those little alarms
Oh, okay.
that go off if something starts to go awry.
I think I need a real-world example
Okay, sure.
to really wrap my head around this.
No problem.
The chapter mentions Dr. Megan's project on
Yeah.
improving handover communication in healthcare using a tool called SBR.
Oh, yes, SBR.
You've ever heard of that?
Absolutely. SBR stands for Situation Background Assessment
Mm,
and Recommendation.
got it.
It's a structured communication framework
Yep.
that helps healthcare professionals share critical information
Yeah.
concisely and effectively during handovers.
So, like, when a patient is transferred from one unit to another.
Exactly.
So Dr. Megan's aim was to increase the use of SBR by doctors.
Okay.
Let's say to 85% within 6 months.
All right.
But what if that push for better communication
Mm-hmm.
inadvertently leads to longer handover times, delaying patient care?
That's a great point.
That's where the balancing measures come in.
Exactly. In Dr. Megan's case, a balancing measure could be tracking
Okay.
the average time it takes to complete a handover using SBR, if that time significantly increases.
Yeah.
It's a sign that something needs to be adjusted.
So it's like a checks and balances system,
Totally.
making sure our good intentions
Right.
are actually leading to good results without creating new problems in the process.
Exactly. And the chapter actually provides a whole table
Oh, wow.
with different types of measures for Dr. Megan's project.
Nice.
It really helps illustrate how outcome,
Yeah.
process, and balancing measures all work together
Right.
to give you that complete picture
Okay.
of your project's impact.
It's like putting together a puzzle, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Each measure is a piece.
Yeah.
When you put them all together, you get a clear picture
You got it.
of what's really going on.
Absolutely. And speaking of putting things together,
Yeah.
remember those practice scenarios from earlier?
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious which one resonated with you the most.
Ooh, good question. I think the one about improving vaccination compliance.
Okay.
Yeah, that one really stood out to me. I feel like that's such a relevant topic these days.
It is.
With so much misinformation swirling around.
Absolutely. It's a perfect example
Right.
of where clear aims and well-defined measures can make a huge difference.
Totally.
It's not just about telling people to get vaccinated.
Right.
It's about understanding the barriers they might be facing and addressing those in a systematic way.
So let's imagine we're working with a community health center
Okay.
that wants to increase vaccination rates among their patients.
Sounds good.
Where do we even begin?
Well, the by whom, how much, by when framework is a great starting point.
Okay.
Let's say their target population is children under 5 years old.
All right.
They could aim to increase the percentage of children who are up to date on their vaccinations by, let's say, 15% within the next year.
Okay, so that's their aim.
Right.
To increase the percentage of children under 5
Yep.
who are up to date on their vaccinations by 15% within 1 year.
Exactly.
Now, for the fun part.
Yeah.
Figuring out how to make it happen.
Let's brainstorm.
What kind of process measures could we use here?
Oh, this is where we get to be creative.
Okay.
They could organize vaccination drives
Okay.
in easily accessible locations.
Makes sense.
Maybe even partner with local schools or daycare centers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right.
And maybe offer extended clinic hours?
Yes.
Or even weekend appointments?
Definitely.
For working parents who might struggle to make it during the week.
Absolutely. And don't forget about the power of education.
Oh, that's true.
They could host workshops or webinars
Okay.
to address common concerns and myths about vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, create a space for open and honest dialogue.
I love that.
Right.
It's about meeting people where they are,
Yeah,
addressing their specific needs and concerns.
for sure. But we also need to remember those balancing measures.
Oh, right.
What potential unintended consequences could arise from these efforts?
Okay, yeah, that's a good point.
For example, if they're focusing heavily on certain communities or neighborhoods, they need to ensure they're not inadvertently neglecting others.
Right, we wouldn't want to create disparities in access to vaccines.
Exactly. They could track vaccination rates across different demographics
Okay.
to make sure their efforts are reaching everyone equally.
And what about the impact on clinic staff?
Oh, that's another important one.
We don't want to burn them out with all these extra initiatives.
Absolutely. They could monitor staff,
Yeah.
workload, and satisfaction
Yeah.
to make sure they're not stretching themselves too thin.
Right.
Maybe they need to hire additional staff
Okay.
or offer overtime incentives to support these efforts.
It's like a constant balancing act, isn't it?
It is.
Making sure you're pushing for positive change
Mhm.
while keeping an eye on any potential ripples in the water.
Precisely. And that's the beauty of this whole framework.
Yeah.
It's not just about achieving the goal.
Right?
It's about doing it in a way that's sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
equitable, and ultimately beneficial for everyone involved.
I'm feeling so inspired right now.
Me too.
This deep dive has really changed my whole perspective on setting goals.
I'm glad to hear that.
And not just those big ambitious ones.
Yeah.
I'm even thinking about how I can apply this to my personal to-do list.
Oh, I love that. Remember that weight loss example?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that grand.
True.
Even something as simple as, I want to read one book a month,
Hmm.
can be reframed using this framework.
Okay, so my aim is
Yes.
to read one book per month by myself starting now.
I love it.
Measurable, achievable, and definitely time-bound.
Perfect. And you can even get creative with your process measures.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you set aside a specific time each day for reading,
Yeah.
or join a book club for extra accountability.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Right.
Oh, and for a balancing measure.
Yes.
I'll make sure I'm not sacrificing sleep
Good one.
to squeeze in those extra chapters.
Huh.
Healthy habits all around.
That's the spirit. And as you embark on your reading challenge
Okay.
and any other goals you set for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
remember to ask yourself that crucial question:
What is it?
what are the potential unintended consequences?
Okay.
And how can I measure those?
Such wise words. This has been such an eye-opening deep dive.
I agree.
We've gone from smart goals feeling like a chore
Yeah,
to having this amazing toolkit to actually make things happen,
I love that.
whether it's a personal goal, a community project,
Uh-huh.
or even improving healthcare systems.
It's amazing what a little framework can do.
And we've learned that it's not just about setting those ambitious aims,
Right.
but also about carefully considering the steps we take to achieve them,
For sure.
always being mindful of the potential impact, both positive and negative.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Yes.
And constantly learning and adapting along the way.
Absolutely.
A huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of crafting effective aims and measures. It's been a pleasure.
Remember, you have the power to make a difference.
You do.
So go out there and make those goals a reality.
I can't wait to see what you accomplish.
See you next time.